The 11th, and we'll rejoin Peter Jacobson.
Thank you, Rich. Cam Champ, the first two rounds is hit tee shots of 356 and 359 here at the 11th.
Well, I'll tell you, Peter, I don't know what this is going to finish, but this is an absolute bullet that's in the absolute dead center of the fairway. Beautiful shot.
Hey guys, Christo Garcia coming to you from New York City. Yes, been having a great time up here with my brother. In fact, we got to visit the Met, like I mentioned, and what an inspiration. But today's video is about Cameron Champ's golf swing. Okay, this guy has exploded on the PGA Tour. He is the most talked about golfer on the PGA Tour probably in the last few months. And the reason why is because he pounds the ball a freaking mile. He may be, I mean, people are saying like 20 yards, 25 yards farther than Dustin Johnson. I don't know. It's just the craziest thing you've ever heard. And he's like long drive distance practically. I know there was a video that went viral, one of his swing analysis videos. It showed him hitting a driver 129 miles an hour, like 0.7. So it's basically 130 mile an hour golf swing with a 351 yard carry for a total of 377 yards. So that's a lot of golf ball he's getting, and to think that he's hitting the ball straight like PGA Pro style is outstanding. Now, some of the elements of his swing are really worth talking about, so we are going to dive in and really break it down. But I want to remind everybody, you know, a lot of people have reached out to me about the MSC Intensive in Tampa. The winter intensive is December 1st, and we've got a few people signed up. So hit me up at Christo@myswingevolution.com if you'd like to join us at the Tampa MSC Winter Intensive. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We got some real fine golfers that are going to be out there. And of course, we have the Cestone Golf Academy hosting us, one of the only Ben Hogan golf academies in the country. So let's get down to the Cameron Champ swing analysis. Okay guys, here we go. Now this is the swing that is setting the PGA Tour and the golf world on fire. Yeah, isn't that just so nice? Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, that impact position is something I mean, it's just amazing. It resembles a lot of JT, actually, Justin Thomas. We see him, you know, lengthening through the legs, jumping off of the ground somewhat. You know, a lot of these guys today, they hit the ball a lot farther with the modern equipment, doing this little jump move. I mean, Bubba Watson really brought it into the PGA. I mean, he's one of those people who really leverages the ground. I mean, can you see the difference between his legs right there? You know, we can go back to this. Here we go. Leg straight, leg squat. And also, if we look at these numbers, 129.7, I heard that he averaged 129 during the course of an entire golf tournament. So that is stellar. Now, let me just say, I think that we all love to hit the ball far. We're all fascinated by the stories of, you know, these Paul Bunyan, Babe Ruth types. You know, when I was a kid, I remember watching the final round of the Players Championship, and Freddie Boom Boom Couples was coming down the stretch. And he had something, I don't want to sound crazy, but it was like 220 yards into the 18th hole. And he hit 7-iron. And we're talking, this is like 30 years ago. And I was screaming like, what? This is impossible. I don't know how much wind there was or whatever, but those are with the old lofts. With like is it like an 8-iron loft? But, you know, we love these guys, you know, after Boom Boom. You know, I remember Davis Love III was the fascination. And then it all got put to rest when John Daly came to town. And, of course, Tiger Woods showed how length can help you destroy a golf course. So this is the new game, like it or not. And we're going to see some really remarkable things in the way that he swings. So let's watch these a couple more times. Yeah, we can see his head moving quite a bit. But this is the real key right here. If you watch this swing where he hits at 129 speed, and this ball flew 351 in the air for a total of 377, you'll just destroy a golf course if you're hitting the ball that far. In fact, a lot of par fours, you can't hit driver. In fact, we see Cameron Champ hitting a lot of 3 irons or driving irons and 3 woods because he's just got too much firepower. Must be a nice problem to have. But we watch here as he gets to the top of the backswing. He's straightening the right leg a bit. You know, this looks pretty classic kind of, because he allows his hips and lower body to really open up. Now that's the most important thing I'm going to share with you today, is he's letting his hips open up, and that's wonderful. Now notice his left heel. There's a slight rise. It's very slight. I mean, you know, he's just going for a tad extra here. But I think that for us older golfers, if you're not, I mean, he's a young man, you know, it's going to be rough on your back. And this is fine for him now, but I certainly hope that that he stays healthy, because I think when you keep your left foot down, it's called a closed kinetic chain. I believe in the classic swing that allows the left heel to rise, which is an open kinetic chain, and it gives a little bit of relief in that lower back before you make your transition and weight transfer to your lead leg. But he's de-weighting that leg. Now watch his anterior pelvic tilt right here and how he gets that stretch through the lower back as he plants. I mean, look at that crazy line. You can see his right lat and how his spine is just curled. I mean, it's amazing. He's going to clear his hips really quickly. He's going to drop the club in the slot. Very similar to, I think, Sergio Garcia. He's bigger and faster. Wow. Stays behind the ball. But you guys have probably already seen this great review that we watched earlier. In fact, I was commenting back and forth with the author. But let's look at these swings. Now, when we talk about Cameron Champ, the driver swing is fantastic, but if you can't get these elements into your short irons and wedges, you're probably not going to be able to do it with your driver. Okay, so we're going to watch some of his short irons and wedges, and I want you to watch how he traps the ball.
Or 3.5.
So that's really, really fun to watch. Again, that super crisp sound of the ball striking. And for my money, the thing that I've been working on that's similar, watch how Cameron essentially puts his right arm across his chest on the downswing and follow through. He's going that right arm down and across the chest. That really helps with that low left, and it keeps that club moving. You see, that's what I've been working on lately as well, is wanting to maintain the stress on the shaft so it doesn't kick too early and I lose all my steam. So let's watch this one again. Again, it's left arm across the chest on the way down, then right arm across the chest on the way through. And let's watch this beautiful swing. I just love that. It's so cool. Yeah, he really goes down after it. And there, his right arm is right across his left shoulder. Just such a beautiful delivery. I'm going to point out one more thing too. Watch these divots. He is not a picker. And I'm not either. You know, these are short irons. I like to go down and get it. So as we move forward, we're going to take a look at some of these 3 woods. Gosh, he's so wiry. Now the thing to keep in mind here is, again, I'm going to talk about his stretch he gets up his left side as he gets the lower body moving forward, and he gets that stretch up that left lat. Keeps his head down and just pounds it. He keeps his balance beautifully. You know, it's a little jumpy, obviously. He comes off of his heels, you know, like JT. Not as bad as JT or Bubba, but it's just so smooth. I think it's just so gorgeous. So now let's take a look at the big stick. Boom! Gosh, that is so cool. Let's watch that again. He's so balanced. I mean, he literally, if he had a 48-inch driver, I think he could be in the long drive competitions. He would be in that 400-plus yard range if he wanted to really go after it with a full 48-inch driver. But to give a guy 377 off the tee, you know, that's a really freaky proposition, and it's so cool. So when I go down the line, I like to take a look at the tush line, and I'd like to take a look at the head position. Head position, you know, that's the anchor of the swing and the classic swing that I believe in so much. And so we're going to get a chance to take a look at what happens with his head and his tush line. So here he is. He's backed up against the wall, so to speak. I got his head in a box, and we're going to watch him take a rip at this ball. Very cool. So let's watch this a little bit frame by frame. Immediately he gets deeper into that right hip. I like that. I like seeing that right leg straighten a touch as he gets deep into that right heel. And then he's going to squat down and just rip it. So he comes off that line a little bit curiously. I do that. A lot of people do. But I mean, he's got enough depth that he's not going to have a problem. But you're going to notice something too. Let's take a look at his head on the way back. It's actually going to move a little bit forward as he squats and compresses into the ground. You know, the funny thing is, you know, a lot of these guys that talk about, oh, Tiger's dipping. I remember people going bananas. I mean, so many great golfers do this. It's how you get leverage out of your legs. But notice there, like just as he's getting to his transition, his head has already dropped, gosh, 4 or 5 inches, and the bill of his cap has moved forward closer to the ball. That's as he's increasing his bend at the forward waist, or forward bend at the waist, shall I say. And then, wow. Yeah, he stays down and just smashes it. Really, really lets the club fly through the impact zone and doesn't try and manipulate it. And I think that's a really beautiful freewheeling type of motion we could all use. See this swing right here? Now, again, this is one of these swings where it's like, you know, I'm out for a casual Sunday round. I'm going to swing this driver about 80%. Oh, what do you know? I hit it 360. He's the smoothest swinging long driver I've ever seen. When I look at Bubba, when I look at John Daly, they look like they're ripping it, you know, but I put him in the category of, you know, somebody like a Freddie Couples, man, somebody who hits it a mile, but they don't look like they're swinging out of their shoes. So let's do the classic where what we have is a line up the left side of his head. We've got this little circle right at his center of gravity. Now the camera's slightly in front of him, so it looks like the ball is slightly back, but he's probably playing that just off of his left heel. But the one thing I'm going to point out, like Sergio Garcia, is a fairly narrow stance. You know, that's something that I don't generally keep my feet this close together. I've done it, but I don't feel like I can create enough leverage. And I actually, what we're going to talk about in a minute is we're going to talk about his forward move with his lower body. I feel that when you have your feet narrow together, that usually you have to create a little bit of space because you can't. I want to play the ball off the tip of my left shoulder like Jack Nicklaus and Ben Hogan. But these guys, you know, they do it a little bit differently. But we're going to watch it. He's going to create some space here. So he's going to move into that right side. Very lovely. But look how far off the ball his head has already moved. So he's already created a lot of space as he moves into his right side. But he's loading into that right hip. That right glute is activated. He's going to make a full turn. It's so nice. And you'll notice he's keeping his heel down here. I think that, you know, he's probably trying to make sure he hits this fairway. So, you know, he's not reaching for too much. He's got plenty of firepower. But as he makes his way down, watch him create even more space, moving his head behind the ball. Wow, these 3 frames are reminiscent of the review I did of Tommy Fleetwood's fantastic swing. Yeah, his head is way behind the ball now, more than obviously when it started, because he had his head up against that red line. I'd prefer to start it a little bit farther back. That's just me. I'm not going to criticize him. I mean, I'm just observing how he does it. But for me, especially not having a young man's body like this, I'm just going to go ahead and start my head farther behind the ball. But the other thing I'd like to take a look at is, let's take a look at his hips and how he uses his lower body. So here, looks like his center of gravity is right on that line, pretty much. All pros, that center of gravity moves forward through the strike, but not that much. Freddie Couples would move a ton. However, Cameron Champ does not. And right here, he's lifting and straightening his legs as he gets up through the ball. Let's take a look at this again here. So he gets onto his left leg, and then that left leg is going to straighten. So much so that his heels actually come up a little bit, Lexi Thompson style. Well, actually not nearly as much as Lexi. But it's much more of a rotational move with his hips, with not as much lateral that I like to see in the classic swingers. So this is a way to do it, you know. I wish I could say, oh man, Cameron Champ is the bomb. He's bringing the classic swing back, you know. There aren't many classic swingers on the PGA Tour. This is the very modern way to hit the ball. I just think that it's difficult for older golfers with less flexibility to hit the ball like this. But I'll tell you, I'll watch it and be screaming all day as he hits these super long bombs and kicks butt. So Cameron Champ, welcome to golf, and thank you so much for bringing some excitement to the game. I hope you hit them long and hit them straight.
Hey guys, so let's cut to the chase. Here's my old golf swing. And here's my new golf swing. Five years ago, I started a YouTube channel, and I wanted to improve my golf swing by using Ben Hogan's 5 lessons. Well, guess what? It worked. And along the way, I picked up over 8 million views on YouTube, and I learned how to shoot under par. Unbelievable, right? Well, the great news is I have a brand new instructional video called The Hogan Code. In this video, I break down everything that I learned over my long journey to learn to swing like Ben Hogan. And now you can learn the very same techniques that I used to become the golfer I always wanted to be.